Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 275 of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox. Toolboxers, thank you for joining us. I know I've been missing for a bit. Episodes are coming late and late. We have some pre recorded interviews and stuff like that that are just in the backlog. It's been a little tough, primarily because the law firm is growing tremendously and we're doing such big stuff with JQK Law, my law firm, that it soaks up a lot of the time I have extra for the toolbox. At the same time, the toolbox has a conference coming up, which I'm sure you're aware of, and we have a really strong group of people coming, a really strong group of mentors and people from across the country. Almost everybody is not from the Southern California area who's coming to the conference. That the students are coming, and my students mean practitioners who want to learn about the O1 field. We're about to fill up, so if you're interested, let me know as soon as possible. I mean, it's only a couple weeks away, but book it. It's going to be a great event, very intimate. People come from Florida, New York, Rhode Island. It's Connecticut. It's like all the East Coast flying over. And it's I don't think anyone locally is coming. It's kind of opposite, but it's a place to be. So definitely come and check it out. But what are we going to talk about today? Is something I thought would be interesting to share my 2023 business plan, what I plan to do, which direction I'm taking things, and a little more minute detail, spilling the beans. Well, I'm pre-recording this, not doing it live to see if I give too much information, but really just talking about what the game plan is and the things I'm thinking about, the way I'm analyzing the firm and its growth. There's a big shift happening internally where I'm less and less working on the technical aspects of cases with clients to more work instead of working in the business, as they say, I'm working on the business. And that requires a lot of operation stuff, and I still have my hands tied in marketing, but I'm getting team members to take over that, to take over the CEO role of the law firm and focus on enlarging it and stuff like that. So before getting that, a couple of talking points I want to bring up is, if you haven't already, review this podcast wherever you're watching it, leave a 5-star rating, subscribe, and download it so that you have more attention come from the social media sites, so they'll put this stuff out more. I talked about the conference. The new issue of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine is out. Go to immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/magazine. Check it out. I haven't been promoting the magazine as much because I'm busy, but on its own, it's gotten legs, and thousands of people are downloading each episode, each issue. So it's pretty impactful that I don't need to keep pushing the magazine on its own. It's got its own readership. If you aren't already and you're an immigration lawyer, I have a special mail list that I have where I update people with things we're doing. For example, we have a CLE I'm doing this March about Iranian immigration for immigration lawyers. So it's a CLE session where I'm going to talk about with Mahsa Kambabi, another Iranian immigration lawyer, all the intricate issues that Iranians have to deal with right now. A recap for those who are practitioners area or want to get into it. It's a lot of information. It's 1 hour of CACLE. It's a live recording that you could join. 1 hour California CLE, and half the states reciprocate on their CLE, so you can use that. Doing fun stuff like that. Definitely come check it out. Just email me if you want to register. info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com, and that's the way it's going there. It's actually sponsored by a new sponsor that we have. It's a great sponsor. The owner is Iranian background. You really want to do this to support the community as well, which is Cerenade, in the technology that eIMMIGRATION just forms. Cerenade is a technology company that's been a leader in serving the immigration space for almost 30 years. eIMMIGRATION by Cerenade is a modern practice management software for immigration attorneys and other legal professionals to manage their cases, clients, forms, billing, and much more all in one place. It's a trusted source of software by thousands of happy attorneys, and in 2022, it earned the highest rating for immigration software on both Capterra and G2 Best Value and Best Ease of Use, among other awards. Immigration has everything you want in modern practice. Practice software. It's a cloud-based system, has a sleek and intuitive UI and bank-grade security. All this with a knowledgeable and responsive technical support team who knows immigration. What really separates eIMMIGRATION from the pack is its comprehensiveness across over 100 features, including features you might not use today but can save you time later, like e-filing systems. eIMMIGRATION is the only platform that offers e-filing for all USCIS forms. Stop paying for multiple software and use eIMMIGRATION to handle all your software needs. For a demo, visit Cerenade.com/eImmigration, and Cerenade is with a C. I'm sure you know about them already, but reach out to them. Either email them to sales@cerenade.com for more information. We're gonna have some sort of a discount plan coming up very soon. I'll have to get the code for that set up. But something to note and put in your toolbox to have different kind of software to use. It's definitely worth having. I'm a subscriber to them as well. So there's a lot of change I can see happening from the years past to do this podcast. If you are interested in learning about marriage immigration, you're new to the immigration field, or you want to learn how to practice, we have a course that's the best course out there: one-on-one sessions, group sessions, recordings, content come out about how to do a marriage immigration case, which is really bigger than that. It's all family based, really kind of ties into it, especially when you have consular processing, which a lot of immigration lawyers don't know how to do. We have that course within that course: adjustment of status, learn about inadmissibility, how the contract should look, all this other stuff. We got a lot of great info. If you're interested in signing up, just email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. Normally at this point, I give a disclaimer, a legal disclaimer, but we're not going to get into law today. So let's talk about what the plans are. So, the decision is made to expand my firm, and it's something that's long overdue now. Like there's regrets of not doing it sooner, but everything has its time and place and comfort where it happens. And one of the most important parts, I think, was COVID in two aspects for me. One is because COVID started, I saw my analytics going down with regards to how many people are visiting my website. So I upped 10x essentially. I don't know if it's 10x, but it was like multiples the amount of marketing I was doing to make up for that. And that made my business boom. Frankly, at the same time of that, I was thinking about closing the business because I was getting kind of burned out about doing, if you don't know my background, for the new listeners, I was a full immigration, full solo, I mean, doing everything for like 10 years of practice. I was getting kind of burned out, and that's why I created the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox courses and stuff like that. So I thought, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm tired, and I don't want to hire people and make a company because it's a lot of work. So I'll make this other company where I train other immigration lawyers and make a living off that. And that was growing. And part of that was a course that taught people how to do internet marketing and get clients. And I test out different kinds of things. And actually, I ramped it up when COVID came too, and it worked, and it made my firm grow really big. Through that process, I began hiring people, in particular editors, video editors, because I would do the editing myself. As you imagine, I'm slammed because I have cases and I'm editing videos, stuff like that. I gave in and hired somebody, and I hired a marketing people to upload stuff and edit stuff. And I realized it wasn't as scary hiring. And that caused me to hire my first associate, which was one of the students in the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox course, the marriage immigration course. And that's been a great situation. So it allowed me to grow the firm. And once I got on this, it was right. COVID happened. I got COVID. I have kids. So once COVID ended or whatever's happened, COVID, kids start going back to school. Every week they have a cold, come back. I'm sick every week, constantly. And having a team to support you was great, because if it was just full solo, it would have been a bad situation for myself and for my clients. So I realized having a solid team that could continue without you if you disappear for a week is a really important thing to have. And now I'm in the process of developing that, which is like a really fun thing. It's like a new passion for me on how to grow a business and do all the stuff that's needed. There's a book out there, if you haven't already. It's called the E-Myth. I'm not sure why they call it E-Myth, but it's a book about how businesses happen when you create your own business, your law firm, whatever. Originally, you're just buying yourself a job, but how do you get out of that and run a company? Now, the E-Myth has a separate book for E-Myth attorney version of it. I wouldn't recommend that. The main E-Myth book is better. I read both. And the one for attorneys that I don't law firms wasn't that big a deal. I wouldn't recommend getting that. But the way they break it down is, a company has three parts to it. There's a person that's technical, or a group or team that does actual, work. That's a product. So this is, the attorney in this case, the paralegals and legal assistants that you work on a case, talk with a client, and do what the product is that you get paid for. And that's what I was enmeshed with and entangled with. And now that I have a wonderful associate, as a senior associate, handling and helping on that kind of stuff with the team behind her, that opens it up where I can focus more fully on two other stuff, which is marketing and operations. So you have the technical aspects of doing the case, then you have marketing, which I was doing, but I couldn't fully do it because I was caught up in doing the technical aspects, and then operations, which I was completely not doing, essentially just the basics. And I'll talk more about each of these, about where the failures were and what my ideas are to grow. Marketing to me is the first place to look at, because when you think of the funnel of business coming in, you got to look at sales that happen when people come in, and the sales that happen with that, and then operations that helps maneuver it. Eventually, it gets to processing and product of the case, which is work product, which reality is the most important part. You have to have great customer care and service, because that's what people are buying. But as a business, you got to lay the groundwork for all of these things. So marketing has been really important. It's a really fun thing. You've always heard me talking about it. You've probably seen tons of my videos that happen on it. So I want to expand that in various ways. There's online marketing. This is primarily what I do. There's what I was doing. I know going to operations, a little bit tidbit in the next phase I'm talking about. I'm doing a annual business plan, which every day essentially I look at, revamp. I do monthly and quarterly reports. Not just January, it just started. The goal is to do this every month. But looking at, I did a practice one in December and a monthly report now in January. It's just finished, even though January is not finished when I'm recording this. And in that January, I broke down in the December one where my cases are coming from. There's a good amount of cases from referrals from other attorneys and from in-person stuff I did. So it's not all marketing necessarily on social media. For me, the toolbox and the communication, I have a lot of immigration attorneys across the world. That brings in a lot of cases too. So that's, I guess, the social media marketing as well. But it really is to increase that. Think about doing paid ads. I'm not sure how well paid ads work. And the reason, this is behind the scenes, but I'll share with you. I started a nonprofit foundation, which is kind of lingering. I'm not getting to it. But as part of that nonprofit foundation, I get thousands of dollars in free ad spend and money to do advertising to help people. And so I've spent every month. I spend like $5,000 that are the nonprofit spends on Google Ads. And of all the main keywords, this and that, and 99% of the stuff we get are like, hey, how do I come to America? How much does it cost? How much is a green card? So I don't know. Maybe I'm just not doing the Google Ads right. Maybe I need an expert to do it. But it seems like paying for it is kind of junk. I like having people research it and find me on YouTube and analyze it, and then realize, oh, it's too complicated. I just want to hire the lawyer who seems very competent, and then come to me. So that's my thought on paid ads. But it's really to increase the types of things we're doing and get more team members involved. So I'm not only on screen. So as we hire more and more associates, get them more involved in recording and talking on screen, so that I could then go behind the scenes. Because the next level, I pump out a lot of content every day. I could pump out a dozen stuff a day. But if I pump out easy content, it doesn't hit as hard. If I spend more time thinking about the specific piece of content I'm doing, it'll go much farther. It just takes more time to think about it, which I don't have, but I'm getting that time. And doing things like, if I do a video, if you go on YouTube, when you do the analytics, you see where people start dropping off your video. And so I got to go check that, see what I'm saying that's causing people to drop off. For example, when you start a video, I can start and say, hi, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. My office is in Los Angeles, California. We have teams in Orange County and Washington State, Washington, D.C. and Virginia. That's all of a sudden like 10 seconds. The average person is going to tune out. It's like, oh, this is annoying. This guy's just advertising himself. I got to start with, are you afraid that your marriage green card case is going to fail because you don't have bona fides? We're going to talk about today. And that's the hook, scaring people into listening to what the rest of your stuff is. And that's a process that, in some passages I know to do, I forget to do. I know it's cheesy to me to do that, but that's what works. And then how your thumbnail looks, how your title looks. You have to think about all this stuff. And you can have a social media team that does it. But what I found is when I interviewed people hired to do this kind of stuff, they were always very generic. They never give any specific stuff. I didn't develop confidence in them, and they wanted $5,000 or $10,000 a month. And I'm like, not really. But then again, maybe it's worth it with the business that comes if you hire someone good. On the other end, sneak peek the operations. If we had a hit and we got a ton of cases, I'm not operationally capable of handling all of a sudden quadrupling my caseload right now. So everything would be a mess anyway. So I don't mind slowly growing all along altogether. So one thing I'm doing for marketing is to be more consistent, because I did a bunch in December, which actually paid off. I had a TikTok video that hit 1.4 million. All of a sudden, got a bunch of people contacting us. Most of it nonsense, but some good stuff there. But having consistency there in YouTube and what we do. So I developed a calendar for each day of this year, and it's so much work. Frankly, I only did the first 7 days of February, but it's that overtime, plan it out. So every day I know when I wake up, this is the recording I'm doing. This is what about. This is the topic for this month. This is the focus for this month. February is Black History Month. Let's talk about every other day. I have a TikTok about a famous Black immigrant that came in and how that could be attention there. There's a day on the Grammys are happening. Let's talk about O1s and how foreign people come to the Grammys and win awards, and how that could help at EB1A, or like different things that you take about local events. There's dozens of this kind of stuff, or hundreds of you could do, so, or infinite really. So it's planning this stuff out. But now that I have a team helping with the legal work, it opens me up to think about this, and also tracking, which is the other half of marketing, which is sales. Having systems, because I get a lot of leads. I get 10 to 30 leads a day. And I just answer them quickly. Last iteration of expanding operations was having a system where I auto respond, where I just send an email reply to everybody the same. But it's kind of tracking we got I was doing last week, we had 10 marriage cases that were good cases that they didn't sign consultations. let me follow up with them now because I kept track of who the people were and say, hey, why did you sign up? Or hey, let's have a group chat or come to this 15-minute chat or kind of follow up to close that deal in terms of the sales. To not let the case just go away that easily, and have different plans of following up with people we have a consultation with really quickly afterwards so they don't linger. And so different kinds of things to think about on the marketing and sales aspect, which I have the time to think about now, should be a big focus of what I'm doing. From there, it moves to operations. And this is a big thing, which is what I was scared of, but primarily just employee growth, hiring people, managing people, make sure they're all happy, negotiating, salaries, when we're onboarding people, having onboarding system that's fast and quick and doesn't linger. Because I was reading one book about companies and who are the happiest employees and stuff. One of the main things is when you onboard people, if they just get hired to sit there do nothing until you get your act together, it ruins the culture, it ruins their joy in the company. So you got to really get them quick, get them excited about the work quick, and that causes a year or two down the line we talk to them, be happier. They've done studies on this, so it's really important to have their responsibilities out there and have it ready to go, and literally having job descriptions for every job. And this was something I wish I'd done sooner because we're hiring people now. We kind of open ended. We're hiring. And then, then the rules come, what your role is, this and that. And there's some pushback or difference of thought. But having more and more exact job description of what your role is, and it's kind of hard to do until you have the person working the position and you know what they're doing to say, okay, this is what you got to do. But it's kind of learning as you go along. But having very specific breakdowns, each job position in the company, including yourself, CEO, what's expected of you, what isn't, what measurements for growth that you have, what milestones, what is the basis of bonuses, what is the basis of raises, how do you look good or look not, how do you track this kind of stuff? And this is called KPIs. And for years, I've been wondering what KPIs would be an immigration law firm. And I've asked people and they never give me an answer. But I've read this is what you got to do. These gurus and law firm management, they have a KPIs. But once I started sitting down and doing the marketing statistics and sales statistics, and then looking at caseload where we're handling money and how much time people are spending on stuff, I started seeing the KPIs, which could be how much time is spent on a case, which means we need time tracker systems that are better, which I'll get in a second. We need to keep track of who's working on what case, how much caseload they get done, how many errors they have per case. Are they getting better or worse? Are they making the same errors or not? And a bunch of other stuff. So it's really learning about these. Again, now that I'm not fully working on cases, it opens my eyes out like what we're actually doing here and to keep track of stuff. So if someone for 3 months is making the same error over and over again, maybe it's time that we get a new person in that position, because you just can't, it's wasting everyone's time if you're not learning. It's all about growth when it's happening. So, that kind of turns next to the culture, the vision we have for the company, and what the public vision for clients to know what we care about, what's important to us, what differentiates us with other people, and internally what our goals are for our people, for their growth and for their safety and sustenance and everything that's needed there, and what vision we have. So we're all on the same page and they buy into it. This is not just a job. This is something that people want to stay with for 5 or 10 years or longer because they know we're going somewhere. And as we hit these milestones, I put in front of them and say, listen, this is our goal. And these are how we're going to get there. And look, every 6 months, we hit that goal? Yeah, we did. So we are getting where we need to go, which means you're going to grow with us, and the money and power and influence and personal satisfaction is going to come with that. And you're on the team with us. So that's very important. And this always goes back to visiting the business plan, which has the vision, the mission, the statistics, and constantly reanalyzing these things and fine-tuning it every day. And it's hard to do that. But again, now that I have a team, it opens up my ability to be able to do this stuff. And as time goes on, I'm going to plug in other people to do this kind of stuff and then go to next level stuff. But this is what's happening right now. Along with operations is thinking about, there's 3 things about making money, which is at the end of the day, it's the business. So the first one, marketing, was getting more money coming in. And when it comes to operations, it's about being more efficient. How much time are people spending? How can we use technology to make things better? We have a bunch of apps that we use that we've purchased for years now. And we've been really touching the surface on how we use it. Our case management stuff, our different kind of software that we use. Like, I just use the bare basics of it. So every weekend, I'll go and press every button on the software, and I realize, oh, they have this third-party app that helps track time. Oh, they have this thing that connects with Slack, and this connects with this. So if I say this one thing on this, it'll go email out automatically to the clients. It's like, we had this all along. Yeah, I would go to Gmail separately, write an email, but then I have an auto email populator. I just press a button on this other app and it just goes through. That's going to save me 5 minutes per time I do this. I do this 50 times a month. Do the math, 250 minutes, like 2.5 hours or whatever bad math I'm doing, that I'm saving right there, which means 2.5 hours more. I can focus on learning about new apps, learning about efficiencies, or learning about this, or handling a case, or frankly, just spending more time with my family. So it really opened my eyes to looking at this. and cleaning up the systems that we have and make templates. We're really in the business of right now internally of making templates for everything, making checklists for everything. I've had time for this before, but we have an I-130 checklist we're developing. When we do, I have a video I do every Tuesday for my law firm, for JK Law, which is a live video. We had a checklist, but we have a more detailed checklist now of every team member, what they're supposed to do in order. So I do the video, I click check, the next person is notified, oh, they're supposed to upload it, check, they're supposed to do this, this, this. And that way we make sure everything's done. And if they're stalling in the process, say, hey, why this isn't moving faster? What is the problem that's preventing this team member from moving it forward? And how can we fix that so we become more and more efficient? And efficiency saves money. And eventually, if we get really efficient, hopefully my goal is like next year to be super efficient. And we can maybe even bring down our legal fees for our clients. Why not? Why not pass down the savings? And so then that leads to, the technical case aspect, having, redundancies to prove stuff, having good communication with clients, make sure there's multiple calendars that remind us of stuff to do, having intake systems that are more helpful, using the software more. And, we're just going to start using USCIS online. We did that for 2 cases for I-130 petitions about how to do the I-130 online. And frankly, it was pretty fast doing it. It made it much easier. In certain senses, not. Certain senses, yes. It's an issue because the online account is attached to your, the lawyers. And if you want team members to help on that, it becomes a problem because you got to give your password out, which is annoying, which you don't want to do. Or every time they want to log in, they have to notify you so you can give the password to them. So that's an inefficiency that USCIS creates in the system. And then there's some glitches or asking clients to do this and send it back and forth, a little bit of a hassle. But overall, it wasn't as bad as I remember it. Frankly, I didn't do most of it. In the 2 cases that we did were cases that I'm not the lead on them, so my associate did it. But she was saying it was really fast. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good to me. If it was easier for you. Now there's the issue, like you can't do adjustment status there. So are we going to file an I-130 online, get a receipt and file for adjustment separately? I don't want to keep the files separate from each other, so we're not going to do that. But if we're going to do an I-90, if we're going to do an I-130, maybe move on to naturalization, we may just do it online and use that efficiency because it seems like everything is going in that direction. It'll save on postage. I use USPS express mailing on everything. That's like, I don't know, $27. And you do 10 cases in a month or something like that. It's not $270. It's not that much, $270, but at the same time, that's $270 that you save, and you can put towards other stuff, developing other software, and researching, online security or other systems that are more beneficial. There's a lot to talk about this stuff. If something interests you, let me know. I want to create a group of 4 or 5 like CEO lawyers who are same size, a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, who are in this process where you could probably share information about how to manage firms and stuff. So if you listen this far and this is what you're involved in, you're going through the same growing pains, let's set it up. So email me. We'll have some sort of breakdown of what the requirements are once I get more people are interested. If we have 4 people interested, we do 4. But there's 20 people, we'll kind of narrow it down to small groups, or maybe create different groups so everyone can talk. I like smaller settings where people could talk and get heard, not just 50 people in one room. But we could talk and share this information to become more efficient and better practitioners of this area of business people. So let me know. Email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. We have a lot of good content coming out. Again, we have the Iranian call that's coming up mid-March, the first day of spring, I put it. We have the conference for 01 workshop in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And we have a lot of other stuff. So get on the newsletter. We're going to update you there. info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. Email me so you get the updates. I'm slow to update because I'm busy with other stuff, but I'm going to have to give a newsletter published out in the next 2 or 3 days. So you'll be getting that. And, expect a lot of great stuff. Stay in touch with me if you're an immigration lawyer or paralegal. If you're in the business, in the field, let me know. I like being friends with everybody, knowing what everyone's doing so we can help each other in the future. Definitely follow on LinkedIn, my personal account, John Khosravi. But there's a lot of opportunity. And I'm so optimistic because there's a good and a bad to it. Our firm has so much work to do. And the bad is it has so much work to do. I'm like overwhelmed with work. But the positive is I know what I need to do to become successful in this and even more successful. And even if a recession happens, we have so much space to create efficiencies, to create more income here, to get more notice here, to create this and that, by having this stuff lined up in front of what else to do, I'm not even worried about a recession. It's more about how well I'm going to execute this and how well my team's going to execute and how well, we could all work together to do it, which is all doable. It's just every day wake up and do the job and you see the growth happening. So it's a really exciting time. And I'm loving it, frankly. I was always talking about on the show, I'm excited to get up and do immigration law. But now it's a different level of it. I'm excited to practice the business of immigration law as well, learning this stuff, in addition to the marketing of it and the toolbox stuff that we're doing. It's all a lot of fun. Thank you everyone who emails me. with kind words, and our listeners. I really appreciate it. Your support is always great. And I guess that's it, everybody. Good talking with you. I hope this call helped, this show helped, and we'll have a lot more like it. If you're interested, just email me and let me know it's something you care about. Until next one, God bless. Bye-bye.